Can you talk about your start in social media?
All my friends knew I loved him. Hand model at one point. Life doesn't end when you're an adult.
I really hope this works.
I don't know if it's filming. I asked you on Instagram, I was like, hey, what are your questions for me? I'm gonna make my first vlog. So this is it, and I have a list of questions and I'm gonna go through them. Here we go, career, let's start with the first one. Where did you go to college and what did you study? I went to UMass Amherst and I studied communications. Can you tell us about your career journey? We'll start way back. When I was in high school in the summer, I would scoop ice cream at a local ice cream shop. Through end of high school through college, I danced for a DJ company. So pretty much they would hire me to pump up the crowd, to get everyone excited. I don't know what the correct term would be, but I was there to pump up the crowd and I would dance and wear a sparkly shiny vest. That was my job. And it was actually paid great money considering I was in high school, college. At the time, I think it was $200 a night, which I was like, oh my God. College, my sophomore or junior year, I was like, hey, I need a job. I want to make money. I know how to dance. So I started teaching a dance class at a local gym, which was so much fun and so great. And it was older women who took my class and they were they'd moved and it was just a fun, good feeling class. And then after my class was an abs class and I watched the person teaching that and I was like, I could do that. So then I went to the manager and I was like, hey, I want to teach that abs class. And he's like, well, are you certified in teaching fitness? And I was like, no. Actually took me under his wing. He's like, get your certification, your CPR, get your personal training, get your group fitness. So I got all the certifications and then I started teaching group fitness in college, which was so great for me. And then I was able to kind of bring that through and I moved into the city. So I moved to Boston and I would teach. And then while I was looking for a job and I found a job as a casting assistant to the casting director. So if you know what casting is, it's kind of we booked models and actors for jobs, whether it be commercial or TV, and it was all kind of jobs. So they would come to our place, we would audition them, and we would pick who we thought would be the best for the role. That was really fun. So I would do that during the day. Then at night, I would go and teach my classes because I still loved teaching and it didn't feel like work to me. I just really enjoyed movement and the energy and the music. Teaching was my best gift. I loved it so much. I ended up getting laid off from my casting job. It was a recession and there was only 3 of us. I was only assistant and there were 2 casting directors. I loved them. They loved me. We were all crying. Actually, I wasn't. I was smiling and she was like, you're the happiest person that I've ever laid off. And I was like, I love working here and I love you, but I'm also excited because I love teaching fitness and this is what I'm going to do full time. So when I got laid off, I just took the ground running and I just taught fitness full time. And I was hustling around the city. I would wake up at 5 a.m., take the train, and then I'd literally walk around the city to all these crazy apartments. And I was like, you live here? And train these people. I remember walking into them and being like, sheesh. And then I would go and teach 5 classes and then I would train again and then I would go teach. I was hustling around. So from 5 a.m. to sometimes 9 p.m. I wouldn't come home. I was young and energetic and I could do all that and it didn't feel like a lot to me. Also started to get into fitness modeling. From there, I started getting into regular modeling. I did modeling for Reebok and I was on a bus one time and I was in the Reebok store, which a lot of cool opportunities came my way. I loved that part of it and I kind of missed the modeling part a lot. I also did something called fit modeling, and that was literally, you would get paid just to try on clothes, and they would see how the samples would fit on you. They'd be like, okay, you're a size small, let's see what a small body would be. And then they would look to see if it fits right, and I would kind of give them feedback. I also was a hand model at one point. So the place that I used to work at, the casting place, started calling me in for auditions because they were like, oh, Lauren, you would be great for this. Come on in. And I was like, okay, sure, whatever. So I went in and I actually started booking a lot of things through that. I was in a Panera ad for my hands and I was all over the country, just my hands. So my grandma, who's in Florida, I was like, Meh, I call her Meh, go down to your Panera. My hands are gonna be there. She went down to the Panera to go see my hands, just my hands. The whole hand modeling experience was wild because you sit there and the focus of the ad is really the food. So there's a food artist director there who's placing a beautiful carrot here and making sure every seed on the bread is perfectly placed. We would be sitting at the table waiting for the food to arrive. Everyone would be ready. I swear to you, when the food came out, there was a napkin over the plate and they would slowly walk it over. Then they would place the plate down and then slowly take off the napkin. And it was oh, it was the model. I was just the hand.
questions.
When did you get into fitness and cooking? Okay, so I guess fitness was like my whole life just because I danced growing up. So that was a big part of movement, which has always been a part of me. My parents like cooked Middle Eastern type cuisine. So it was always pretty fresh and pretty quote unquote healthy. But I definitely did grow up eating like the mac and cheese and the Dunkaroos and fruit roll-ups and the sugary cereals. So it's not like I had a perfect eating childhood by any means. As for cooking, I would say when I was living on my own after I lived with 3 of my friends, and then I moved into another apartment in the city with one of my friends, and then I moved in with Brandon. I would say when I moved in with Brandon, I really like loved our apartment and felt like good in the space. I started to cook more. When Brandon and I moved in together, I pulled back on teaching just a little bit so I wasn't waking up at 5 a.m. and coming home at 9 p.m. But at the same time, I think I was afraid of like using butter, afraid of using too much salt, afraid of like now I freaking season that shit so much. Like I really, really season stuff. Back then I think I was a little more reserved and I was still learning. Like I wasn't that good of a cook. I really wasn't. Cooking took a while. When I was younger, my mom was a huge cook. Her family owned restaurants in California, so I was always around it. I think the exposure helped.
Can you talk about your start in social media? How did you get into it?
So the first kind of social media I did was YouTube, and I was teaching classes. And I was just targeting Boston because that's where I'm from and that's where I was teaching. I was running around the city doing the whole thing there. And I was like, I want to reach the world. I want to help and teach and inspire and energize the world, not just Boston. So I started YouTube and I was like, YouTube will reach most of the world. And my channel grew and it was great. And I was like dedicated to making a video once a week and I loved it. And I did that a long, long time ago. I don't know, like over 10 years ago, 15 years ago, a long ass time ago. I'm gonna age myself, but then like Facebook showed up, so then that was like the main thing. And then Instagram showed up and I would just kind of post like healthy recipes which I'm not like a recipe developer. So that was always hard for me because I'm not the kind of person to create a recipe and be like, hey, follow these ingredients and this instructions. I tried to do that, but then I realized it didn't flow naturally to me. I loved following recipes. Who am I kidding? I didn't follow them very well. But I liked trying recipes. But I did have a blog and I started that way. I was always trying to see what would bite. This didn't happen overnight. It's literally been for years that I've been working on it. I think TikTok was my fastest growing platform. And I think it was because it was just genuine, like what I do and who I am. I didn't really have to figure myself out. It's just like, it was my life. But the other stuff was like definitely slower to build. Pretty much started on YouTube, then went to Facebook, then went to Instagram, then went to TikTok. Oh, that's a good question. What would I be doing if not for kids and TikTok? Shit. I guess I never really thought about it, and it sounds so corny because I love the life that I have right now. I'm not like, what else would I be doing? Probably movie star. I'm just kidding. Definitely think I'd be here because my family is here, but I do love the warm weather. Or maybe I would still be teaching fitness. Can I get back to that question? Okay. What is your favorite meal to cook? Woo! Believe it or not, I think I just like homemade pizza because you get to make the dough, which is so easy and super satisfying. You roll it out, the kids get involved, you get to do your cheese and your sauce, and you could put any toppings on it that you want. You can be creative with it. It's always satisfying when it comes out and you're like, wow, I just made that. And then you can have it with salad on the side. Just delicious. And I feel like everyone loves it and everyone's happy eating it. So that would be my favorite meal. Favorite nostalgic meal or recipe you love? Chicken soup. Chicken soup. I just feel like chicken soup is like such a warming. My mom always said like warms your soul, and chicken soup really does warm your soul. And my kids love it and I love it, and it just calms me when I eat it. And I remember eating it as a child. How did you meet your husband? Brandon is my brother's best friend. I actually have a journal entry. I wish I had it right here, but I have it somewhere in the house that I wrote when I was a junior in high school. I would pretty much manifest it. I was like, I am going to marry Brandon. He just has no idea yet. And like, he didn't probably even know who I was. Didn't even pay attention to me, but I knew when I saw him, my heart would flutter every single time. This guy is something special. So he's my brother's best friend. And you guys are probably like, what the heck? How did your brother ever let that fly? So it did not go over very well. I was obsessed with him first, and I was like, oh my God, I love this kid. I love this kid. And I remember my mom calling me on my way home from dance and being like, Lauren, Brandon's here. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Because she knows that if I showed up after dance in my like leotard, my hair all crazy, I don't know what I would have done. So she would tell me that, I'd be like, ah! I don't even think he knows this. And all my friends knew I like loved him, so they were like pumping me up. I remember that so much. So everyone knew that I loved him. I kind of just manifested him into my life. And we are complete opposite. He is quiet and I am like loud. He is so analytical and thoughtful on things, really meticulous when I am like all over the place all the time. Our energies are different, but somehow we just work. We didn't start dating till college, but it took me a while to kind of like learn him. And I think that is maybe with every relationship. Maybe sometimes it's easy and amazing. Not that it wasn't easy and amazing, but I definitely had to learn his personality. He had to learn mine because we were so different. But then once you know the person, then it works. It's just kind of magical. I'm still obsessed with him. We dated for like 7 years before we got married. We got married at 27. I was 27, he was 30. Moved in with him, I think like maybe 6 months before he proposed. And we lived in the city together. Like slowly crept to like another part of the city, then another part of the city before buying our home, which was not in the city anymore. But he just makes my heart flutter. I'm so grateful for him every day. The end. What was your life like before having kids? Oh my God, party! No, just kidding. College and then post-college, so living with some girlfriends, having your fun with that, and then living with Brandon and doing my thing with that. But we just had a lot of free time. I remember being in the city and just walking, like being like, all right, it's the weekend, let's just go for a walk, eat somewhere. Just very much living in such a spontaneous life, which is much harder to do with kids. You can't just like get up and leave. Oh, we travel a ton, everywhere. Every month we were like on a plane going somewhere, which I'm so happy we were able to do, because that was really nice to kind of get that. And now we still love traveling, but it's just much harder.
How would you describe your parenting style? What is your approach?
This is tricky because I don't know how I would name my parenting style, but I do know what values are important to me. Creating boundaries are important, but also open communication and like knowing that they can come to me with anything without judgment. Always want them to tell me everything, and sometimes I want to react. I want to be like, oh, how could you do that? But I like remind myself like, they're coming to you, they're opening up to you, and that is such a win. So just bite your tongue and don't say anything, because then they're not gonna wanna come and tell you things. I try to talk to my kids as people and talk to them, it sounds very cliche, but talk to them how I would want to be spoken to. And sometimes I miss the mark, and sometimes I yell, and sometimes I don't do things the way I want to do them. But then I think repairing and like visiting back and owning up to where you messed up, be like, oh, I'm really sorry about earlier today. Like, I had really big feelings and I did not deal with that the way I should have. I don't know if I'm like kind of answering the question, but I guess I want them to see me who I am, that like life doesn't end when you're an adult. Don't take things too seriously. And I think that exudes in my parenting style. Life is too short. Smile, laugh, get crazy. I literally was jumping on the couch yesterday kicking soccer balls with them. Brandon is, I'm pretty much like the fourth child, is what's happening. No, but then I do make sure their safety is like #1 priority, and I do make sure there are boundaries, and I do make sure that there are rules that they understand, but those rules are in place to keep them safe, not to be an ass. I'm super, super open with them. Like, I know some families have a hard time talking to their kids about, can you say sex on YouTube? About sex or about the body part, but I value the open communication. In my mind, I'm like, if they're gonna learn something, I want them to learn it from me, because soon they're gonna learn it from the internet, they're gonna learn it from their best friend. But like, if that question is coming to me, I would love to be the one to fill them with the information and not hiding things and not making things up.
What was hardest, 1 to 2 or 2 to 3?
Hands down, 1 to 2 was harder. My boys were like very close in age, fought a lot. I had to do the NICU, and I wasn't like, I knew that it was a possibility that I would have to do the NICU again, but that was really hard because I was like hoping I didn't have to do it. 2 to 3 has been a gift. I love their little dynamic, and the boys are like so helpful. She's like our little like princess. So it's been, 2 to 3 has been awesome. So if you're on the fence about having a third, I think that like 3 is really nice.
How do you know you were ready for a baby? How old were you when you had Griffin?
30 when I had Griffin, 32 when I had Gus, 37 when I had Bloom. Sounds kind of lame-o, but a lot of my friends were having kids, and we're kind of like on the friend group, and I was like, okay, well, I guess it's time to have kids. I mean, we had done a lot of traveling. We'd been married for 3 years, and I was like 30, and I was like, this feels like a good time. Solid in like our careers and our jobs, and we had a home. Everything was kind of like falling into place. But a lot of people are like, you don't really know when the time is right. And there really is no right time. I think it was just the age, friends were having kids, and it just felt like the next thing to do.
How did you choose your kids' names?
Okay, I'm obsessed with names. Love the meaning of them, love the way they sound, love how they go together. My list of names is so long. I didn't know Griffin was gonna be born when he was born, so he was born 3.5 months early. That's freaking early. He was called a micro preemie. He was 2 pounds at birth. Have any names. Brandon the man that he is was like, we didn't want to find out gender. I'm not going to waste my time trying to think of a name if we don't know what the gender is. Like, why would I work so hard in picking a boy name and a girl name if it's only going to be one of those? He's fine. I was like, I'll make my list. So I just made my list. And then when Griffin was born, presented the list to him. What was important to us was that the name had meaning. And Griffin is a mythological creature, half lion, half eagle. And it's a king of the land, king of the sky. We wanted the name to have strength, have power, longevity. And I felt like Griffin was a solid name. It wasn't common. It just felt 100% right, and I'm obsessed with that name. August, again, we did not have a name for this because we didn't know if it was a boy or girl, and he was born in August. It means grand, magnificent. If you think of like Augustus, Caesar, Roman Empire, that kind of tied in with the name Griffin. Loved the nickname Gus, which also means grand, magnificent. So we wanted a name that had power to it, that wasn't common, wasn't popular. He was born in August, and we were like, all right, August it is. And then Bloom, we knew she was gonna be a girl. And I had a list of 5 girl names. Brandon pretty much vetoed all of them except for Bloom. So I was like, you would approve of Bloom? Because that was one of my number ones. It was Bloom or Tuesday. Which people always laugh at, but I love the name Tuesday. There is still so much meaning, which maybe I'll go into another time, on why I love the name Tuesday. So he did not do that, so we did Bloom, but I loved Bloom because it's like growth, life, beauty, coming from the earth. I didn't know if she was gonna be born early or not. She was. She was born. They brought her to the NICU, and the first time I saw her, she had like the cover on the isolette. So it was like a fleece blanket, fleece knotted blanket. All over the fleece knotted blanket was flowers, vegetables, everything that comes from the earth, that blooms from the earth, was like covering the blanket. And I was like, this is a sign. Bloom is her name. What are your favorite health food brands? Okay, I love Siete. I love Simple Mills. Guys, I'm gonna have to take you through my kitchen one time. This is gonna be another segment, and I'll go through my kitchen and go over our favorite things. What do you generally eat in a day? So I never like to do videos of like what I eat in a day because every body is different, literally, and needs different things. I do a lot of nut butters in the morning. You know, my whole like nut butter apple thing. I just love that. Don't love eggs. Sometimes I'll eat them, but they don't tickle me like they used to. If my family does pasta, I'll do like a lentil pasta, roasted veggies, tahini, quinoa, a salad with sardines. I really like pickled things. I'm not much of a dairy person just because I don't really love the taste of it. Black lentils, red lentils, green lentils, give me all the lentils. I love beans. I like chips. I'm a chippy person. And I never used to like gummies. I was a chocolate girl. Now I love gummies. Ever since Bloom, I was pregnant with Bloom, like something shifted in me and I'm like, love gummies. What is your wellness philosophy? What do you live by? Moving your body. That's what I live by. Move your body any way that you can. Waking up in the morning and like literally doing like a nice movement stretch is what you need to do. I know people are like, you need to move for half an hour a day. You need to walk, you need to do this. Honestly, whatever you can do. So some days I only make time for 10 minutes and I move my body mindfully for 10 minutes. And it feels great. I think walking is really important. I'm starting to lift more weights because I am at that age with bone density. I love my trampoline, so jumping. My wellness philosophy would be do movements that feel good to your body and listen to great music while doing it. What made you decide to live such a healthy lifestyle? Such a tricky question because in my mind, this is just a life I live. Is it even that healthy? I mean, I guess it is, right? I don't drink, and not because I'm against alcohol, I'm sober, I just don't drink. I like feeling good in my body. I like waking up with energy. I like being able to function in the day, feel amazing doing it. So putting the foods in my body that make me feel good. I always tell my kids it's like a car. Like you fill your car with good gas, it's gonna ride smoothly and run efficiently. You fill it with the gas that's like not so pure, then you're gonna just putz around. Like you're gonna get from A to B, but maybe it'll take you longer. Maybe it'll be like more of a struggle. When I was a kid, I didn't know. My mom was cooking all the time, so that was great. But then she also bought like the Dunkaroos because I wanted it. My kids are like, Mom, why do you never want McDonald's? It's not like I'm depriving myself. My body just doesn't want it. Like I don't even feel like I miss it because I like to move and I like to groove and I like to do things. What time do you go to bed and wake up? Okay, so bedtime is usually around like 10:30 because I like to watch some shows, unwind, go on my phone when I probably could go to bed a little earlier. Sometimes it's 10 and I wake up usually around 6. 8 hours, that's beautiful. My body needs sleep. I'm not happy if I'm sleeping on 6 hours. I love my sleep, but I'm waking up really early, so I feel like I have to go to bed earlier. What is your favorite type of music to listen to? Favorite artists? Oh, okay. I love Kygo. I think his music is like really good. And I go through, I don't think I have like a favorite artist. This is where I like don't have attention to detail. I could be like, ooh, I really like that song, or ooh, I really like that song. I remember back in the day, I loved Ellie Goulding. She was like my, during our wedding, we had Ellie Goulding, a lot of her music. I just like music that you can dance to and enjoy and feel good listening to it. That was a terrible answer, but honestly, guys, I don't have an answer for you. I will listen to anything. How would you describe your style? What are your favorite brands? Oh my goodness, this is a loaded one and a good one. Okay, so something that's classy, but also statement, but also a little feminine, but maybe a little oversized, a little trend with a little edge, starting to like transition toward like really good basics. So jeans, white tee, a good belt, nice cardigan, button up, good boots. Comes to going out an event of some sort, like I feel like I can really spice it up. Like I'm not basic and plain for that. I will find a freaking funky dress, do my hair fun, and just like bam. I'm not gonna go for like a neutral. Weddings or parties, I will bring it. And you'd be like, whoa. That will be the reaction when someone sees what I'm wearing. Whoa. I don't know if I necessarily search for particular brands, but I'll do like Shopbop, I'll do Revolve. I'll kind of like scope there, see what I'm loving. But I don't limit myself to like brands. For jeans, I feel like I've been going to A. Goldie, Citizens. I do Nuuly, and that's maybe where I get my like more funkier, like random jackets and coats, because I know that it's like a one-off and I'll be fine wearing it. If I don't want it, I could just return it. That was a lot of information. I didn't go over any of those questions before, so that was literally like right off the bat what my heart was feeling at the moment. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Comment below any more questions you have. I'll see you soon. Bye.